morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Today I'm going to do a quick guide to landing, docking, and going home. And we're going to look at an Easter egg in Kerbal Space Program. So let's hop in. We're going to go to Scenarios, then... Okay, once we're in, you'll notice that you have two craft docked already. It's a very similar setup to the Apollo missions to land on the moon with a command module and landing module. The first thing we need to do is put some astronauts in the landing module. We have to do this by EVA as of this patch. Once your Kerbal is out, hit R to enable the jetpack. The controls can be a bit disorienting, but once you've messed with it a bit, you'll get the hang of it. Okay, so we got Jeb piloting. Now let's put Bill in there too. This isn't necessary, but for the sake of sticking to the Apollo missions, I'm going to go ahead and do it. So now that we've got our Kerbal knots in the landing module, we'll switch back to the command module by hitting the bracket key. Then we'll move Bob out of the way. Okay, now that that's done, we can focus on landing. Now, to get to the Neil Armstrong Memorial, you'll need to know where it is. At the bottom edge of this crater is where it's at. So we're going to slow down until we're moving straight down towards it. The best way to make sure you don't scatter your guts across the moon is to keep an eye on the speed indicator at the top of the nav ball. I switch it to surface speed when I can. What you want to do is keep it down to a manageable speed, say under 150 meters per second. Let yourself descend, but as I said, keep an eye on your speed. As you get closer, you want to reduce that speed to a minimum. Try to land as gently as you can. There you go. Here's a look at the Neil Armstrong Memorial. It's quite large. Okay, let's head back and link up with the command module. So when we take off, we want to be heading the same direction as the command module. So as soon as we achieve liftoff, we're going to head towards the 90-degree mark on the nav ball, then get into orbit. Once we're safely in orbit, we're going to set the command module as our target. This will add a few markers on our nav ball. The purple circle is our target. The purple triangle is the target's delta. The yellow circle is our heading, and the yellow triangle is our delta. This is a very rough docking guide. There are ways of doing this more efficiently, but this will help get you started. Now then, we want to try and find a point where the two craft intersect at their closest. The purple and orange markers will give us that information. Set a maneuver node and try to get the intersect markers on top of one another. You may have to make adjustments after the burn. Okay, looks like 6 kilometers is our closest approach. We're going to wait until we're about to hit that spot. Now that we're close, we're going to want to slow down our relative speed. The navball speed indicator shows us our speed relative to the command module. We want to slow it down to under 0.5 meters per second by facing our delta and burning. Once you do that, you'll want to head towards the target, that purple circle there. And if you're watching through the map, you'll see the markers get closer and closer. You might have to do this process a couple times until your next approach is under 1,000 meters. Now that we're in position, we're going to point our docking bay towards the target. Since the landing module has no RCS thrusters, we're going to switch. RCS makes all the difference in docking maneuvers. Now, what we want to do is set the landing module as our target. You can double click on it to achieve this. Now it's a matter of lining up and making a slow and steady approach. Use RCS by hitting R. Using RCS is a bit confusing at first, but you're mostly going to be using I and K to control upwards and downwards, J and L for left and right, and finally H and N for forwards and backwards. Think of it like flying a helicopter. It'll take a bit to get used to, so make your slow and steady approach until the bays are close enough for the magnets to kick in. Now, to get home. We won't need the landing module anymore, so we can undock after our Kerbals are back in the command module. We're going to get away like before, then wait until we're on the far side of the moon. Once we're there, we want to burn towards our heading until we break out of the moon's gravity well. we wait a bit to conserve fuel. Once we're in orbit around Kerbin, you'll need to burn towards your delta until the orbit falls under the atmosphere or until it drops into Kerbin itself. Then we just wait for splashdown. Note, it is important, depending on the parachute, to watch your radar altimeter. The parachutes on this craft won't open until 500 meters. If you open them before that mark, you risk tearing them off the craft, so wait until then to open them. And splash down. I hope that helps. Thanks for watching. Good day.